It's the Awake Space Astrology Podcast. I'm Lori Rivers with you, here to help you with some inspiration to get those aspirations out into the world. And I know you're like, what, Lori? Mercury is going retrograde this week. What inspiration can be there? I'll be like, but we have the Sagittarius new moon. And it happens before Mercury stations retrograde on Tuesday night if you're on the West Coast, into Wednesday morning everywhere else if you're east of the Pacific time zone. If you're west of the Pacific time zone, then it's going to be happening for you on Tuesday as well. But the Mercury retrograde really takes effect on Wednesday the 13th, pretty much for everybody. Unless you're in Australia, then it's the 14th. Boy, let me tell you, them time zones. I had 2 clients from Australia on Saturday, and it was kind of funny with the time. It's always a little wild because we're pretty much a day apart. But anywho, so Mercury retrograde happens, but that new moon in Sagittarius comes first. We're talking about that first. I'm going to tell you how to use that energy and what to expect with that new moon. And then Mercury in Capricorn stations retrograde, and it appears to move backwards in the sky until January 1st of 2024. That's why we're going to be kicking off the 2024, just like moving forward. There's no hesitation, no waiting. Really January 2nd is really where we're going to feel that, because Mercury doesn't station direct till evening of January 1st on the West Coast. Now, January 1st, everywhere else in the world, that sucker is taken off. So we'll be moving fast and furiously through 2024. Not a lot of time to catch our breath. If you missed the 2024 Year Ahead live event, I have it available for purchase on my link. And I'll put my link page in the show notes. You can grab that. If you're a patron, I gave you my PDF of the slides, and in that you get a special little discount on the recording. I'll make sure you get that post today. It is a wild, wild time on the planet. I hear a lot of people losing hope, and I really want you to stop that. You know, it's if you're not within a persecuted community, you really shouldn't do that. You need to be the hope. You need to keep persevering. You don't get to give up, because they don't get to give up. Neither do you. So that is my mom lecture for today. Knock it up. Pull up your big girl or big boy or big them panties and keep moving forward. Okay. I'm tired of the complaining. Life has never been easy on this planet. Never. And I actually see a lot of reasons for hope, and I talk about that in this podcast episode. So I'm giving you a stern lecture to suck it up, buttercups. We got to keep moving forward. The people who need our support and help can't afford for us to be in our own pity party because we're witnessing something. Imagine living through it. So stop being self-indulgent. Get up. Do it. I know most of you aren't in that headspace listening to this podcast, but I just want to make it really clear. I don't have time for people whining and complaining anymore. We have serious times ahead. They're not going to get easier because we have to make a lot of big changes in this world. And so sometimes things have got to get ugly before they get better. And I know that for a fact, as I've lived a hell of a life. As some of the students in my Pluto class found out today in the Planet of the Month Club. It's funny, I've been recording this between Saturday and Sunday because I have to be out on Monday. I gotta get up really early. But anyway, I'm not a morning person. I'm a night person. But I have to get up with the sun tomorrow. Ugh. But anywho, I really, really hope you guys take what we're talking about to heart in this episode, because hope is our currency. So I'm not going to blather on anymore. Make sure you head over to Patreon. Even if you're not a paid member, I've opened the poll to the public. You can vote on when I go live on TikTok, no matter what Maybe if you can join Patreon for free as an audience member for things like polls and articles and things like that. If it's not directly related to Patreon, I'm going to keep those things open. And so just vote for when you want to see me live on TikTok. I'll start up more YouTube-y stuff in 2024. But for right now, we'll stick with Tiki-Taki. And we'll start cleaning up the YouTube channel and making that a little better in 2024, but we got other fish to fry right now. So without further ado, I got a little message from Spotify for podcasters, and then I want you to listen to the new moon in Sagittarius and how you could use that energy concurrently with Mercury retrograde in Capricorn. So get your seatbelts on. It's a wild ride. So it's really funny. Sometimes I get songs that pop into my head when I'm looking at astrology charts. And when I look at the new moon in Sagittarius, I'm hearing a whole lot of love. It's like that 60s song, I don't know. It's just very interesting. It's very wild energy. That new moon in Sagittarius happens at 20 degrees of Sagittarius. So it's in a tight square. It's in a 4-degree square with Neptune, which is now direct. Mars is kind of included in this, as in it's at 13 degrees, so it's and some change. So it's in a approaching conjunction with that new moon. I don't think on a global scale this is going to be great news. I just don't. I think that there's going to be more international turmoil, and I don't have good feelings about diplomacy until maybe the end of December. I just don't see it. I just think the deliberate stubbornness of the United States and Israel, the doubling down, even though there's evidence that it's like listening to the politicians speak and the officials speak is it's frustrating and rage-inducing, especially if you've studied international relations, international law, even for those who have not. There's a whole lot of, are you kidding me? Especially if you know the history, world history. It's kind of like, But I'm going to tell you, I've been feeling that way for 30 years plus, so none of this is surprising me. It's merely disappointing me. But on a personal level, this is a great new moon to create pragmatic resolution in your life. So, if you're setting intentions, it's time to be pragmatic. This is the time to not like, I'm going to win the lottery. It's a great aspiration. It's unlikely. And it doesn't mean you're not a good manifester. It's just the odds are not necessarily great. You want to think more practical. And I'm not saying reduce your vision or play small. I'm just saying if there's something you really want to do, like you want a new job that pays better and has better benefits, then you need to look at how your resume is formatted and maybe set your intentions for highlighting yourself better or having more confidence or assessing your skills to dispelling your social cultural programming that holds you back. Like, do you beat yourself up all the time, or do you have this narrative running in the back of your head that is holding you back? This is the time to dispel this stuff. Okay. And you'll find out in the interview with Seth, he's got a candle for Mercury retrograde, which I thought was great. I love his description. And as an astrologer and a metaphysician, I can say, yes, Mercury isn't responsible for all of it, but we have these things called thought forms, right? Thought forms. And, if you think something a lot, it gains density. Okay, that's why there's certain beliefs that are hard to let go of. That's why you see old ideas that just won't go away, even if they don't serve us anymore. And that's on an individual as well as a macro level, right? And so use what tools you can, even if you can't get one of his candles. And again, I don't get any kickback for that. I want Seth to do well because I think he's amazing, and we all need tools, right? But even if you don't have that, you can set intentions and use your mind to deconstruct a little bit. And this new moon is a good time to do that. It's like, let go of the fairy tales and I'm not saying don't dream big dreams. This is Sagittarius. Of course, have a vision, have a dream. But the square with Neptune is saying, let go of the cultural narratives that hold you back. Like, I'm not the right type of person. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not skinny enough. I'm too old. I'm too young. People like me never get ahead. That kind of stuff. Let that shit go. Like, what are your get real with this? What are your skill sets? What do you already know? What resources do you already possess? And I'm not just talking money. Like, if you've got a laptop or a phone, a smartphone in this world, you already have access to things that your ancestors couldn't have dreamed of. Okay. There's possibility available to you if you take the time to learn things. And this is a time to map out your goals for 2024. It's a great time to set resolution and let go and dispel the things in your way. Now, interestingly, we have Venus in a sextile it's a separating sextile with Mercury in Capricorn, which has not stationed yet as of 3:32 p.m. Pacific. Okay. And so this is a good time to really get down to brass tacks about what matters most to you. Okay. Venus is still in that opposition with Jupiter. That's not a bad thing. Like, Venus-Jupiter transits, when Venus connects to Jupiter, whether it's an opposition, a square, etc., there's no downside. And in fact, there's no real downsides on an individual level to a Venus transit. I had somebody mention on my TikTok, like in a comment, they were like, Venus square Saturn is brutal. I'm like, it is not brutal. What the hell are you talking about? Where did you study astrology? The doom school? No. It is forcing you to look at your resources in a different way. But Venus square Saturn could reduce the authoritarian control on you. That can be a great thing. So no. Stop thinking negative. People are like, I'm just being real. No, you're being a Debbie Downer. Knock it off. That's not realistic. Pessimism is no more realistic than optimism. Okay? There's pragmatism is kind of in the center, and I'm very pragmatic, right? I know the likelihood of me having an audience the size of Joe Rogan's is probably pretty slim, and I don't need that to be successful also. But I am optimistic that my podcast audience will grow beyond its reach right now, which is really good. It's got a good reach. I'm happy with it. Okay. I'm not being pessimistic by saying, I probably won't reach Joe Rogan's numbers. That's probably not going to happen. I'm okay with that. I'm not going to compare myself to him either on any level. I'm not even going to bash him at this point. I'm just saying, this is where we're at, right? That's a pragmatic approach. It's not pessimistic, and I'm not overly optimistic in that, like, I'm going to get 10 million followers. Woo. I'm probably not, because I get cranky with people, and people don't like that in women. Like, if I was a dude, oh man, I'd own the freaking world, but I'm afraid I have tatas, and people don't like tatas and opinions in the same body. Well, you guys do. Oh, I just amused myself. That's the other thing. We might feel some levity. We might be like, other song that's been coming into my head, and I think I talked about it on the last podcast, is like from the Muppet Christmas Carol, or it was one of the Muppet specials from the 90s, and it was like, We Need a Little Christmas, that song. I'm not talking about the religious holiday, but it's like, in order to have hope, sometimes we have to infuse ourselves, and it could feel really macabre. It could feel really weird because, we're watching innocence in the world, and not just Palestine. There's about to be some pretty brutal stuff going on in Guyana, because Venezuela is laying claim to some land where Exxon found oil. And so there's about to be some real heinous things towards indigenous peoples in Guyana in South America. You guys can look that up. And so it could be like, wow, I don't really feel like celebrating. It's somber, right? I told you December would be somber. It doesn't feel like the holidays. It doesn't feel right to overly celebrate anything. And again, I don't celebrate any religious holidays as a religious thing at all. But I do, I often enjoy something of the season. And that's why I got my peppermint schnapps and my hot cocoa. That's something I do every year this time of year. It's not something I drink on the regular. Why? It's a little soothing. It's an old memory of my grandmother at Christmas time. And, that's just part of my personal walk. But am I decorating for the holidays? No, not really. Not this year. It doesn't feel right. But I do need something sparkly and shiny to give me a little bit of hope. For a lot of you, this is your first understanding of what's going on in Israel and Palestine. And my first protest was in 1988 in London for Palestine. And when I understood what was going on for the first time, I was 19. So it's been a long time. And I don't have high hopes that it's going to go well in the moment. I do think the outcome over time will be good, but it will not be good in time to save a lot of lives. And so there's that. I do think we're going to see the world unite in a way we haven't seen the world unite in a very long time, probably against the United States. I know. We're the bad guys. Hopefully the elections sort that out. You really want to clear the House. I can't emphasize it enough. And I feel like I'm a broken record. And I feel like, and this is very relevant to the Sagittarius new moon because Sagittarius rules politics. You need to really pick your game plan for how you're going to be involved beyond voting. Where can you go to participate in meetings? Where can you show up? Where can you get on committees? You might have to be subtle. Just showing up, yelling, and protesting, that's one arm of a many-pronged process. If you have the privilege to fit in physically, if you look like them and whoever they are, whether it's the school board, the library, your local party, and you can go into either party where you can infiltrate, do that. Infiltrate if you can. We need to think like the French Resistance in 2024, which is not, people keep confusing that with the French Revolution. This is not guillotines and pitchforks, guys. You got to be a lot more subtle than that. We need to infiltrate, and we need to make sure the House gets cleared. If we don't clear the House, we're hosed. It doesn't matter who's president at that point. We have 3 equal branches of government. We do not have kings. We are not subjects. We are citizens, and we need to keep it that way. And there's a big difference. So with the new moon in Sagittarius, you want to pick your political game plan on the local level. We'll be talking more about that in 2024 on the new podcast, Lori Thinks Out Loud. We'll get that going. And I'll give you action steps you can take every single week. Not going to do that as much here on the Awake Space Astrology Podcast. Just trying to spread us out there a little bit. So it's time to set pragmatic plans. Now, Mercury stations retrograde at 11:09 p.m. Pacific, December 12th. That means it's like what? 11, 12, 1, 2 p.m. Or sorry, 2. Is it 12? 2. Yeah. 2 a.m. Eastern on the 13th. Mercury stations. That means it stands still for a minute to our point of view on Earth. And it's stationing in Capricorn. And so it could be that there is some issues with government forms, government processes. There's some real interesting stuff on that. So we shall see. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at what it's going to look like for your commute the next day, because the next day on December 13th, actually at 9 p.m., not even the commute, 9 p.m. Pacific, the moon will be conjunct Mercury retrograde. Oh boy, that's going to be that. We could see the downfall of a leader of some kind. Hours before that, we have the moon in a trine with Jupiter retrograde. There could be some financial repercussions out in the world. We could see sanctions, financial sanctions by countries. There's definitely a lot of political intrigue in that chart. We have Venus in a sextile. This is probably economics. And I do see an issue with a leader. There's something that's going to happen with a world leader, and it could be an elected official. It could be a government. That's going to be really weird. I'm going to pull it to the AM for around 9 a.m. Pacific. Yeah. We might see the commute's probably going to be a little dodgy, guys. It's just going to be a little dodgy, especially in LA. So be careful driving. There might be some issues with international weather. I think we could see some really big rainstorms come into play. Yeah, it's going to be wet. And it's mostly going to be wet. Pacific Northwest, up towards Alaska, British Columbia. Just think more like atmospheric rivers. It's not a big surprise. It's an El Nino year. Those are intense. I've lived that. Not my favorite. And there could be definitely some erosion events and things like that coming with that Mercury retrograde, and then the moon in Capricorn the next day. But in the evening, so around 9 p.m., we could hear about different leaders either stepping down, being taken out. These could be CEOs as well. So expect some really interesting news on the 14th with this. If you're a patron and you get the horoscopes, then you know in your planner, in your horoscope planner / magazine, the Awake Space Astrology magazine, then we have the Mercury retrograde survival guide. That's in there where I give you how to plan through that. But Mercury retrograde isn't going to be like bad on a personal level necessarily. It depends on your chart. It depends. Don't expect bad things is what I'm trying to tell you. Okay, don't be a noodlehead. All right, you gotta accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative. Hey, that's an old 1940s song, so don't think it's just like modern white girl supremacy. Speaking of, and I was thinking of like white women spirituality. That's YT. Okay. So there's this person that claims to be an astrologer that keeps putting my name in their mouth. And I know they probably stalk my pages because they're trying to get clout. I'm not going to mention their name, but they made a video about a young creator that was really like defaming. And I was just like, how white of them. They're definitely problematic, but I guess they don't have a very big audience, and this is how they're trying to grow, which is a terrible strategy. So this is the last I will speak on this. I refuse to be drawn in. It's just dumb. So, but when people are insecure, they do things, and that's at the core of any kind of supremacy. If you have to think you're better than everybody else, if you have to like put people down, if you have to challenge for a duel, you're probably insecure. And that goes for countries. Like if you have to do dominance to control, if you have to annihilate people in order to get your way, you are obviously, it's just not BDE. You know what BDE is, right? BDE, big dick energy. Well, it's not. It's just not. It's small DE. Small DE. I'm being careful because I don't want the kids to copy what I say. Don't say what Auntie Lori says, kids. But anyway, we're watching it rise up. I'm going to say we're not going to see an end to things right now. This does not bode well for the countries who are perpetrating violence in such a bad way. It is going to be a catalyst for action around the globe. And we probably are moving into an expanded kind of conflict. But I don't think it's going to be like World War III the way people imagine it to be. I think there's going to be a lot of economics and technical matters happening. So, anywho, I think it's time for some patron shout outs because, again, I think it's really easy to go down rabbit holes and fall into a pit of despair right now. And that's exactly what they want us to do. They want us to give up hope. They want us to feel broken. They want us to not have a fight left in us, or they want to distract us politically. And that's why I'm saying be very, very careful about the Democrats using the boogeyman argument again. Make them earn your vote if that's the way you're voting. Don't just, the vote blue no matter who is a bullshit argument, and it's really bad politics. Not every Democrat has values that align with yours, so you really want to look at where they're taking their money from. You can do that at opensecrets.org. There are a lot of people who believe they understand politics and civics, who have been caught up in rhetoric. And it's really important, especially with this new moon in Sagittarius, to rip the blinders off and see things for what they are. And I'm not saying be negative and pessimistic, but you really need to stop believing the fairy tales that there are good guys and bad guys in office right now. Follow the money. Follow the money. Follow the money. Venus is in Scorpio. This is a great time to attract information to yourself and uncover secrets. All right, let's do some patron shout outs, because without patrons, there's no Awake Space Astrology Podcast, and they deserve their moment in the sun. You know what time it is. You heard the music. It's time for patron shout outs. Just a quick note, I've been requested to have a live stream schedule. I am schedule adverse. I'm scheduled a lot with readings. There's a Malcolm shake. Remember, Malcolm noises are free on the podcast. But I do understand. I usually stick between like 6:30 and 9:30 at night Pacific, and I know that's hard for our East Coasties. So I put up a little poll in the Patreon. In fact, it's a free poll. Anybody can answer and weigh in on this. So if you're interested in weighing in on when I go live on TikTok, make sure you head over to the Awake Space Patreon, and you'll hear all about that. or read about it anyway. You won't hear it because it's a visual post, but you can weigh in and make your voice heard. So far, it's looking like Sundays at 3 p.m. Pacific and Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific. That would be 6 p.m. Eastern on Sundays and 10 p.m. Eastern on Fridays. Seem to be the most popular times. I got to work out my schedule so I make sure I get 2 days off a week. And so there is that. Now, let's take a look at our patrons. Without you, there is no me, and all new patrons at the paid tiers get their shout out. So we've got Dora, Denise, Myra, California, Roberta, Andy, Jamie, Johanna, or Joanna, or Johanna. I don't know which way you pronounce your name. Stephanie, Lex, Holly, Taylor, Catherine, Melissa, Robert, Maggie, Alexa, Anna, Crystal, Patty, Lilac, Kate, Casey, Evelyn, Donna Marie, Janet, Vince, Star Moon, Raisa, Maya, Tracy, Thomas, Tony, Colleen, Melissa, Alyssa, Diana, Kathy, Katie, Ashley Martian, Laura, Katie, Hannah, R.R. Fjorn, Kaylee's Not Home, Alicia, Terry, Jamie, Eleanor, Christy, Candace, and Barry. Thank you so much for being patrons. Again, without you, there is no Awake Space Astrology Podcast, and we're going up the ranks. You guys have been really patient with me in December as I've been making my physical moves and having to rework my schedule a little bit. I'm a Cancer, and I don't do moving well emotionally at all, even if it's a good thing. And I love my new place. If you guys haven't caught me on a TikTok live and gotten to see kind of the cool bookcase behind me or the armor, yes, I have freaking armor, or any of the other cool stuff that will be filling up the bookshelves behind the chair, because the chair is back, my friends, then, well, you get to see it. So make sure you go over to patreon.com/the Awake Space. We'll put that in the show notes, and you can vote in the poll for when I go live on TikTok. Or I'm not going to schedule the YouTube ones as much right now. I'll wait into 2024, but we can start off with the TikTok ones. I don't know why. It's just a different energy. I kind of like the YouTube ones more because it just feels better. Maybe it's the software. It's just easier for me to read. But I like the recording on TikTok better. I like the film quality better. I probably need to get the good camera out and on the tripod and connect it up to my software to do the other ones live. And I'm a little more informal, I think YouTube is a little more, I don't know, posy. I don't know, there's posers on TikTok too, but I don't know. This is where I come at, during my day, and I don't really make myself up a whole lot, although that might change because my daughter might make me wear makeup. She does such a nice job when she makes me up, though. I can't see to do it properly anymore. And honestly, I don't care that much about it. So I know other people do. It's just not my bag. But anyway, my thing is I want to connect with you. So to me, that's the most important part, instead of people bothering about how people look. But, I'm visually impaired, so maybe that's why I like to see into who a person is and not really how they look. It's how they feel that matters to me. Alrighty. Let's get on with the show. Thank you again for all your support. Hi, everybody. My friend Seth Sapphire, who has Auric Voltage Candle Company, and he is a purveyor of hand-dipped crystal grid technology magic candles. You say it the way you like to say it.
For sure. Hi. Happy to be here.
Yeah. So you just lit one. The one that's lit. Talk to me about that, because you love this candle.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Exciting. So This is my limited edition Winter Solstice Blessings and Magic mini hand-dipped crystal grid beeswax ritual candle. I'm really excited about this for so many reasons. Number one, the beeswax comes from my family's beehives. My dad has bees, my brother has bees, my dad's master beekeeper has bees. Beekeeper, you know. So I get the honey from them. But what's really special about this one compared to all these other special candles is that this candle, it's a combination of the beeswax base, but I foraged for about a year and a half as much pine pitch as I could from all my parents' property upstate New York. And I took that pine pitch. I wish I brought it over the table to show you. I took that pine pitch and I melted it down over the stove with the beeswax to basically get all the pine essence out. So there's the pine essences in the wax dipped on the candle many, many times. But what's also really exciting here, this is my next level up. I'm excited. So is that
you don't have to be sorry.
The stripes. Thank you. I appreciate that, Lori. Yay, wrote in. Yeah. So what I'm really excited about here is the wax, just the different colors. So all my hand-dipped crystal beeswax spell candles, there's no dyes, there's no essential oils, there's no petrol, there's no bullshit, really, honestly. I'm not sure if I can say it, but basically it's what creates the colors as I crush like-colored and like-magical propertied crystals and plant botanicals into dust. I mix those particles in with different vats of raw beeswax from my family's beehives. That whole process, the heat extraction removes the scent from the botanicals, which gives the different waxes their different scents. And the particles of the crystals and the plant botanicals are resonating the energetic and magical properties of those botanicals and crystals and creating the really beautiful pigment. So just really excited about this, especially with this one. So the green wax is really special. I had you can actually see this on my TikTok, but last Yule, I had a 6-foot Yule tree in my magic lab, and I crystal gridded all around it. January 1st, I removed every single needle from that pine tree, every single one. And I basically made a humongous tincture of it. I extracted the entire soul from the pine tree, as well as all the energy and magic that I was putting into the pine tree via the crystal grid. And then I basically took selenite and I put it in my Vitamix. I don't recommend doing that, by the way. But I have a utility magic one, so I don't eat out of that one. So positive boundaries. But I powdered the selenite, and I took that right here, actually. Oh, Snapdragons. Cool. There we go.
So here's the deal, listeners. Yeah, everything on Seth's candles, he does this. This is no joke. So show us what you got there.
Yeah. So what you see here from here, oh, wait, that's my view. Hi, what's up? From here to here, that's all the pine needles from the 6-foot Yule tree.
Wow.
In just silt form, just super small particles. And this is some of the essence extract. So I took that and I mixed in with the powdered selenite. Great. This, which is the soul pine essence mixed with selenite. I'll show you. So it's part of what creates the green pigments as well as the scents in the green wax. Also, you can't see it here, but there's all the particles are just melting down, or just falling into it. So this is it right here.
Oh, beautiful!
And it smells just like the tree because the extraction.
The waxes smell divine on every one of your candles. They are just stunning. I have a very sensitive schnoz, so and scented things can really either irritate me or the opposite, soothe me. And your candles are amazing. So just so our listeners know, some of you have already met Seth in a past podcast episode, but Seth and I became friends when I lived in Sedona, and he wasn't doing this to sell. He was not yet. So we've been on this journey together, and I have to say I've had the honor and pleasure of testing many of these candles, and they're freaking amazing.
Thank you.
But they are all hand done. So what have you got there? Oh, that's the Magic Lab. There we go.
All of these right there.
Wow.
These are the candle dippers that I made myself. I had a vision of literally myself dipping 22 candles at a time, and I didn't know how to make it happen. I couldn't find anything online, so I went on Amazon, got a cupcake stand, and played Frankenstein. So this is actually the first dip in making the bases for my spell candles. Also because I love spinning, I also do this a lot with the candles. I do different kinds of vortex energy magic work. And it's just fun because I'm an Aries. You gotta make the work.
Right. Yeah, he is a fire train. Let me tell you, grand train. He's got he's an Aries, Leo rising, Sag moon, and that new moon is going to be right on your moon, man. That's really exciting. That the new moon is on Tuesday. Set those intentions.
110%.
Beautiful.
There we go.
So you're also a gemologist as well, right?
Correct. Yes. I graduated from the GIA, the Gemological Institute of America in New York City in 2013. Gemology is a branch off of geology. So I know all the chemical compositions, the structural, how to identify all different kinds of crystals, as well as the historical provenance of use. I also used to work in the diamond industry as well. But the main reason becoming a gemologist wasn't to be in the diamond district. It was to become a better magical practitioner. Because in general, with any of your craft, the more that you know about whatever it is that you're using to tap into for magic work, the deeper you can tap into the energies of that tool, whether it be a candle, a crystal, an herb, doesn't matter. The template of what I'm saying is for every single little thing. So by having that scholastic education, it literally allowed me to boom, go really freaking
deep into the crystal.
Next level, Superman stuff. Minus the muscle.
Absolutely. Right? I love it.
Thank you.
So you've got a candle around your neck. Is that one of the solstice minis?
Yeah. That can actually bring it up closer. What I like about the minis, these ones, is I like to just go like this and just put myself in a meditative trance.
That's gorgeous.
Oh, thank you. That. And the red wax is really cute too.
Now, are these double wicked, or are they just the stripes melt as the candle goes? Because you've got some double wicked candles.
I'll have to make this work. Gravity, folks.
There we go. There's the top of it. Oh, it is. Oh, gorgeous.
Oh, yeah. It's so beautiful. When this thing starts to drip, you literally see the individual colored drips. It's literally it's so beautiful. I mean, the energies are amazing.
That is so cool.
Oh, yeah.
So, what are the energetical properties of this candle again? What's the best use?
Yeah.
So to say.
So, for this candle is energetically designed to increase positive energies in the user's winter solstice experience. Also, to increase the ratio to 1 second, just trying to get the word straight. It also increases positive energies into one's winter solstice experience. It also intensifies the occurrence of desirable synchronicities, things that you want, things that make you feel good. the synchronicities. That's the good stuff.
Right.
Oh yeah. And I'm really excited about this because like I'm lighting it now. It's also doing its energy work. But when I light this on the 21st, oh my god! Like,
right?
Like actually, because I make these, but I actually made a big one for myself.
Yeah.
To light. So I'm like,
that's cool.
Yes. This is gonna be like,
but so, but you've also explained to me like the magic itself. Like, yes, the big ones, obviously, hello. The bigger candles are gonna shoot out a bigger signal, but the little ones are not slouchy. I've played around with both.
No. The mini ones, they're very strong as well. This is my mini Protect Your Heart. I just, no joke, I actually ran out of these and I made this, finished it 10 minutes before the podcast started. So it's really
that's so funny.
Still warm from the lab. So this is my mini Protect Your Heart hand dip crystal grid beeswax spell candle. This candle assists in the blocking, releasing, healing, and acknowledging of emotional negativity and trauma. Internal emotional negativity, aka those nasty, icky thoughts that we have about ourselves sometimes because of negative traumatic emotional experiences from the past that weren't taken care of, released and aligned, that basically just have crept through one's entire life's experience like a weed. So this removes that. Also, with all my candles in general, it's all about vibrational resonance. You'll receive as much energy as you are receptive to receive. So you're never going to get too much. You're never going to get too little. It's automatically adjusted directly to you for you. Because that you're the reason why they're there. So yeah, I love the minis are so cute. And also, I don't know, call me sentimental, but just because they're like smaller versions, I'm more fond of them. They're like little babies. They're
right.
Like
they are adorable.
Like it's it just feels good inside. But yeah. So
now, one of the things you've told me about them is you don't have to burn them to get all the magic out of it. You can sit and resonate with it and have it around and then burn it. So like you don't have to burn it right away. The energy is going to like attune with you. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I need to get some like visual space here. There we go. I have some structure now. So the minis, all my candles, they're live active generating crystal grids. That being said, because all the candles
what did that mean? So say that again. They're a what, and what does that mean?
Thank you. So all my spell candles are live or alive, active, generating crystal grids. So that being said, the candle is a candle, but because of all the crystal particles within it, it has its own auric field. There's a crystal energy radiating from the candle. So the only difference between a crystal grid like that I'm like making on the table and this crystal grid is that this crystal grid is held together in a 3-dimensional state fused together by beeswax. So every single candle radiates the energy of that vibrational theme of candle. So what I like to do is I like to hold on to the candles. I have candles underneath my bed. I have actually, you know what? I'll show you. Welcome to the other part of the Magic Lab, folks. This is a real life edition here because I practice what I preach. So this is above my bed.
That's true.
I have candles above my bed because they radiate the energy of the energy. So this is literally a money candle. This is a grounding candle, grounding abundance. This is a violet flame candle here for spiritual purification, clearing, activation, alignment. That basically energetically cleanses that tween space. This is actually it right here. So because they radiate the energy of that candle, they can be used for energy work. Plus, I don't know, but maybe I'm witchy as all get out, and I love hanging random magical shit all over the place for different energetic effects. Right? Because there are so many uses. So I just wanted to share that some real life edition from the Magic Lab.
Right. So if you frame these candles really, really pretty, now you have some of those wrapped up in the wax paper. I love how you package these when you mail them out because they're in like a wax parchment paper. But do you have to have them in that? Could you leave it sitting out exposed, or is it better not to do that?
Oh, got you. So it all depends on what you feel, because it's your intuitive
But it's
guidance.
not going to, right.
No.
So, but it's not going to mess with, like, it's not going to make the smell dissipate. It's not going,
I mean,
it'll be
it
ready
might
when you
make
burn
it
it.
dissipate a little bit, but that's just from like this. It's when you burn it, when that heat comes, that's when you smell the smell. You know. Also, think about it. Unwrapping the candle, because they're all crystals. You can literally have it in your altar, or you could have it wrapped up, hanging above your altar. But if you unwrap the candle, you can also put it in the sunlight and the moonlight. You can't really do that if it's wrapped up per se. So it's nice to have options. No option is going to be bad. The only not conducive option is one that literally is against your own intuitive guidance. You know?
Right.
It's your craft, your ritual.
So if you're like, hey, this is too pretty to burn right now, it's okay to put it in a candle holder and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because they're all so beautiful.
Thank you so much, Lori. You know, the most important thing, which I'm going to keep stressing about, is vibrational resonance. So every single spell candle that I make, there's no ritual attached to it. There's no dogma. There's no, you have to, like this candle when the moon is full on the third, whatever, No, it's not like that.
Standing on one foot, patting your head with one hand.
Yes, right. Praising to trees. Like, I'm all about praising trees, don't get me wrong. But point is like this. Every single candle, they're energetic tools. They're just like crystals. They literally crystals fused together by beeswax. So they can be treated like such as tools. This is a tool. My candles are tools to be in addition to your life and in addition to your craft. Incorporate the candles into your own ritual magical vibe. They're literally energetically, purely non-denominational. Therefore, those are receptive. Whether, you're a Christian, you're Jewish, you're a Wiccan, you're a Santaro, you're a Hindu, doesn't matter. If you like the vibes, you can utilize these tools to develop yourself. Because in general, what about these candles is, well, for example, I do not want a lifelong customer for a certain candle. That is counterintuitive to growth and development in magic and expansion. What my candles are is they are vibrationally themed tools to give individuals the energies that they need so they do not have to have the experiences that they don't want anymore, whether it be emotional trauma, Mercury and retrograde issues.
Yeah, you made a special candle just for like although I will say, as an astrologer, half of what people blame Mercury retrograde for is not anything to do with Mercury retrograde. But if people have a well-built thought form around what they think Mercury retrograde is, that's what that candle's taking care of.
Bingo.
It's helping dispel that thought form because we build thought forms and, our thoughts are powerful, and your candles work really well in clearing that kind of thing and ameliorating a forward path.
100%. Oh yeah. This is it right here. Actually, I'm going to burn this candle so you can see what I'm talking about. I just got like intuitive download guidance.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Redirect shift. Pretty much. So transfer this.
When I do that in readings, like I'll get really quiet because like I'm really looking at the chart and my brain is up in the metal plane, sorting things, and I'll just get really quiet and people will be like, are you there?
Trying to smell this and not burn my nose here. You know, it is what it is, for sure. Ooh.
It's one way of getting it taken care of.
This is true. Smell some flowers afterwards, some non-burning singeing candles. All right, so for this candle, I get excited.
I saw your TikTok about this, so I'm excited to see it here.
That was the whole creation process of it. So with this candle, it's a dual vortex wick. There's the top wick first, which you light, and you light it, and you wait about a minute and a half. I just made this. I actually have to snip this short. It'll actually be like. I need to get my scissors right over here.
So let me take it. While you're doing that, I'm going to take a look. So Butterfly Moon says, I'm so excited for Seth. His excitement and passion is contagious. Absolutely.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for seeing me.
Absolutely a bundle of love and joy. Big hearts from Meredith and Laura. Woo. Karen says, gotta love those grand triumphs. Yeah, totally. You need that when Meredith says, yeah, his candles are amazing. And like I said, I've had the great good fortune of not only testing, but inspiring a few, like the Bitch Bye Vortex.
Oh,
that was really funny.
Yeah. So Lori was the inspiration. We had a long talk one night, and she said, I need a candle to take care of some unwanted energy in my life. And she commissioned me to create the original, it was pre-Bitch Bye Vortex. It was just literally...
It was pre-Bye. We just called it Bitch Bye, I think is what we called it.
Bye, definitely.
Bitch Bye.
And that candle...
It was freaking huge, too. The original one, it was just like this monstrosity.
I'll search the video of that I have on TikTok, and I'll like repost it and like tag you in it so you can actually see the original. This is the modified, the new version. But Lori's Bitch Bye. Aggressive.
It was aggressive.
Oh yeah.
I love that. I have a friend with the magical laboratory. The laboratory.
All right, so I'm going to
try not to get the light is like smacking me. I still haven't fixed up the studio all the way. So my glasses.
Creation process. It makes me think like my glasses are dirty, but we're in contacts. All right, so so with this candle, it's a dual vortex candle. There is a side wick. Actually, there is a side wick here. There's a side wick, top wick, and the side wick burns around the candle in a downward counterclockwise spiral. Counterclockwise removes energy, and the downward spiral is intensifying the energetic momentum of the removal with fire. That also being said,
now this is the Mercury retrograde remedy.
That also being said, I'm now going to show you what the inside of this candle looks like. So there's a large yellow hand-dipped crystal infused beeswax base. Then, because I have a cross section here, there's a raw crystal infused beeswax base. And then there's thick rings of my blue communication crystal infused beeswax. Then a ring of yellow, another ring of blue, a ring of yellow, and a ring of blue. Once this candle gets to this point, it doesn't have the side wick on it. After I get to this point, then I put the side wick around, and I attach crushed chunked selenite and blue kyanite. Blue kyanite is an amazing crystal for literally opening the throat chakra and clearing. I literally think of it as like selenite, blue selenite for the throat. It's just great. So that's why I have that in the base as a foundation of the intention of why I'm doing what I'm doing. Selenite intensifies the energetic and magical properties of the blue kyanite, and also just selenite is just great in general. So then I dip it in my black crystal and plant botanical infused protection, clearing, grounding magic raw beeswax. I crush black crystals, black crystals, and black and very, very dark brown plant botanicals into dust. Put that in a wax melter, which literally, as you can see here, gives that black color. And the blue creates the blue.
Gorgeous.
Oh well. So
That's great.
Yeah. And then we're gonna get on it. But this is what it looks like on the inside. Another reason why I have it like this is because it creates a bullseye. Intense.
Oh, cool.
For sure.
Sagittarius energy.
Boom!
Although Mercury is stationing retrograde in Capricorn, but it slides back into Sagittarius on the 22nd, as I will be talking about in this podcast later.
Sure. All right, so let's
after
get on.
We're done with Sethi. Yeah, get on with it. Do it.
Also, with my candles, the intention for best results is to have it burning from start to finish. The minis, they burn around 2.5 hours to 4.25 hours. The large ones, the originals, can burn anywhere from 6 to over 24 hours on a crazy ritualistic level.
Mm-hmm. And it isn't about size.
No.
I've had, like I get Seth's candles with, frequency. I'm
VIP.
always ordering.
You're VIP from my heart.
Right. And sometimes Seth sends me gifts.
There we go. I got a little excited. So you light one and then wait a minute and a half.
Right. So it's coming. So I literally have lit like same kind of candle, same size, and I've had them burn quickly because the energy was just flowing that way. And then I've had it go for like a day and a half.
Oh, yeah. It's so cool either way.
It is.
Because you get what
it's
you
amazing.
need.
And right. It's exactly what you need. It's not too little. It's not too much. Very excited. Right? Aren't they gorgeous, guys? So I wanted Seth on here because, again, Seth does this by hand. He collects the botanicals. Sometimes he collects the minerals, not for every candle, but he has. And he also has crystals up on his shop as well. Seth is a child of my heart.
Yeah, so true.
Right. So Mama Lori wants Seth to do well in life. So he's got he's got a mailing list you can sign up on his website.
Yeah.
And his stuff is gorgeous. I don't know very many people who would take the time and consideration, the thoughtfulness to put it together. But that's what a real teacher does. When we look at metaphysics and we look at magic, it isn't about scaling your business. It's not about yes, we need to eat and we need to be able to pay our rent. We shouldn't be depriving ourselves in our service. But there's a big difference of bulk ordering crap out of China that isn't necessarily ethically cultivated. I'm not saying China's bad because there's very good practitioners in China, but the really good practitioners in China aren't taking mass produced paraffin wax either. Right. No, and so the hand cultivating, the thought process, the energy, the ritual, the love, the coming from the heart space, the letting you decide, allowing for your agency. That's a sign of a spiritual teacher and practitioner. Speaking of teaching, look at those candles go. You've got a workshop coming up in New York, don't you? Because you're in New York.
I'm so excited. Thank you for mentioning that. So, I have a free workshop at, the name of this place is so adorable. The name of the shop is, quote, My Little Magic Shop.
I love
And
it.
it's in the Upper West Side. It's a free workshop, and I'm going to be there with my candles. I'm going to be basically explaining for everything about my candles, how I do in great detail, way more than this podcast, like detail. And I'm also going to be showing them how to use a candle, all these different things that I'm working on actively and putting on my website and we're sharing with everyone. There's
I love that.
there's just so much you can do with these candles. It's way more than just crystals, wax, and a wick or 2 wicks.
Right.
It is
Right. Now, what day and time is that workshop at my little magic shop in the Upper West Side in New York?
It is on the 29th
Of December?
Oh yes, excuse me. Yes, the 29th of December. It's basically a New Year intention manifestation themed workshop, combined with the candle energies and crystals. That being said,
so that's okay. I'll get all the information together and we'll put it in the show notes. So if people so it's at the end of the month, that's a perfect date to have that class because that's the day Venus slides into Sagittarius and the day before Jupiter stations direct. So that's a great time to have an aspirational, inspirational party and learn new things and learn to value yourself in a new way, gather your wisdom. I'll get all that information from you into the show notes so people can show up.
Also, I'm gonna have my TikTok is Auric Voltage. I'm gonna be having the workshop on TikTok live for all people that want to still understand what I'm doing and aren't living in the city because I'm all about access of information and having options and choices with your life.
Oh man, Seth was such a good sport because it was really late for him when we recorded that. If you want to listen to the rest of that or actually see the beautiful candles that we were talking about on the recording, go over to my YouTube channel and you'll be able to watch in full brilliant Technicolor. Those candles are gorgeous. I love Seth's candles. Okay. And again, I don't get anything out of that. I don't get an affiliate commission. I just really love Seth and I love his candles and I want him to do well. So check out his website. You can check out his TikTok. He is a truly magical being. Alrighty. Are you ready for your Mercury retrograde survival guide? So number 1, don't freak out about it. Don't let the thought form that's been built over the last probably 40, 50 years, because it didn't start with the internet. Astrologers, I think it's one of the first things I heard was Mercury retrograde. And don't sign contracts, which isn't necessarily true. Okay, I've signed a lease during a Mercury retrograde. I've purchased a vehicle during a Mercury retrograde. And when did I do those things? Well, the one, I needed a place to live. Okay, so that solved a housing problem. Okay, it resolved an issue. It worked out just fine. The car, again, I did not have a vehicle. It's a very long story. But I was without a vehicle. I needed to get a new vehicle. And guess when I was able to do that? During the Mercury retrograde. It's a great car, by the way. So if you are resolving a problem, it's very different than if you're trying to impose your will. So you just want a new car or you want to buy a house and you're not going to listen to anybody. You just want what you want when you want it. Well, it probably won't work out very well. Okay. When it comes to doing business contracts or trying to launch something new, you may be overly focused on your outcome and not paying attention to the details. Okay. It is a very good time to resolve problems or outstanding matters and take care of those things. That is a good thing to do during Mercury retrograde, regardless of the sign Mercury is traveling through. Now, with this Mercury retrograde, it starts in Capricorn and it'll slide back in through Sagittarius. It stations retrograde on the 12th of December. on the West Coast, so early hours of December 13th. And it will remain retrograde until it stations direct in the evening of January 1st. And so from there on, all bets are off. We're moving forward. So I think because the world is in flux right now, and we're watching things go down. I think if anybody who has been educated on history or politics, and we're kind of watching these very surreal moments in time, and I think it's been very surreal for quite a long time for me personally, but I think over the last 4 or 5 years for most people, and especially over the last 3 years for a great majority of people, it seems very surreal. We're watching people we would hope make better decisions, make decisions we know end up being bad outcomes because we know from history. So it's a little surreal. I think people are feeling a little powerless, but that's because we haven't really been taught how to use our power. Notice how many of you are over-focusing on the presidential election. Okay? And why am I saying you're over-focusing on it? You're so damn worried about who's going to be president that you let people get into the house that have no business being there or remain there when they have no business staying. We have an opportunity to absolutely clean house in the House of Representatives in 2024. All 435 seats are up for grabs. All 435. And what's really cool about the House of Representatives or the Senate, we don't have to worry about the Electoral College at all. You can vote in third-party candidates. You can vote in independents into the House and the Senate. Okay. Likewise, you want to look at your state governments. You want to clean house there. Yes, I know there's gerrymandering, but imagine, if you will, people showing up to vote. Okay, as much as possible if you have the privilege. Obviously, there's places where racism is one of the greatest problems. Okay, and that's going to be a problem. So if you happen to have privilege in one of those places, well, then by God, use it. You know, sheesh. Don't give up. Don't let them take away your vote. So what I find interesting is that Mercury will station direct in the evening of January 1st at 22 degrees of Sagittarius. So we're going to start out with some political savvy. We're going to have people, and Mars will still be in Sagittarius January 1st when Mercury goes direct. And so we're going to have people really ready to take action right out of the get-go, right out of the year. So what we want to use this time period from December 13th effectively, because hopefully you'll be in bed when it stations direct or stations retrograde on the 12th/13th. When you wake up that morning, it's time to review your plans. It's time to review your goals. Now, remember what I said about that new moon in Sagittarius is you want to be pragmatic. Okay, I'm not saying pessimistic. When I say maybe be a little more realistic, it doesn't mean give up on a dream. It just means you need to take stock of your action plan. You can't just sit there wishing on stars and saying affirmations and not taking any action. So you want to look at like, okay, if I want to start something, what do I need? What do I know? And what do I need to know? Like, where am I stuck? Or where is there a gap? Do I know how to do it all? This is where you don't want to question yourself to defeat yourself. You want to question yourself to say, okay, what else do I need? Like if I want to bake cookies, the first thing I really should do before I get started, and sometimes I don't do this, I need to make sure I have all the ingredients. Do I have the butter, the milk, the eggs, or whatever fat I'm using? So if you're, do I have the coconut oil? Do I have the almond flour? Do I have, what do I have in my kitchen that I need for whatever I'm baking? If I'm missing an ingredient, I don't go, oh man, I can't make cookies. I'm like, oh man, I need to go to the store and go get this. What else am I missing? What else do I need? Do I have parchment paper? Do I need parchment paper? No, I don't need it, but it'd be nice, right? So the same goes with our other goals. If you want to start a business, great. You might be really good at crocheting, or you might be really good at cooking, or you might be, but do you have everything you need to make that business work? Okay. Those are all things you need to know. If you're looking to get a promotion or a better job, I hear this a lot. People be like, but I've applied everywhere. Well, have you tweaked your resume? Are you selling yourself short? Are you putting in for jobs that you're overqualified for because you're afraid to take the risk of going for something better? You want to do some self-assessments during this time. And then you also want to take a look at where Capricorn is in your birth chart and where Sagittarius is in your birth chart. I'm kind of excited for this one. So right now, Mercury is transiting my third house. Okay, so third house is communications and travel. And I can tell you, I am probably not going to drive on Wednesday the 13th. Nope, probably not going to, because that Mercury's in my third house. So I'm probably going to hang out at home. I'm already out on Monday anyway, and I have a lot I need to do here. And there's so much going on here. And so getting things ready, helping my daughter get ready for something she has to do. So there's plenty of reasons not to leave. I have other stuff I have to attend to. So no driving for me. I do need to. I'm actually, one of the reasons I'm most excited about that is we should have all the things that are kind of taking my attention right now completed, at least my end of it, and I can get back to writing, because I need to be able to focus to do that. With Mercury in the third house for me, I'm going to be able to go back and do those writing projects. Okay, so you don't need to know everything about the houses. You just need to know in general what they represent. Okay. And if you're a patron, make sure you use the astrology guides that you have access to. Make sure you can read through the houses in there. Those things are described. Let's see, what else? Oh, I'll also do a little patron walkthrough for you in your patron-only episode that I'm going to put out on Monday or Sunday. We'll see. I started recording this on Saturday, and now it's Sunday, and it's like really early in the morning, and I need to go to bed. But I'll do in the patron-only episode. We'll get some of that done. So being able to review and go back over your plans, like I told you, like earlier in the month, I was like, hey, make your plans in pencil, because as we go through Mercury retrograde, you're going to want to reassess, kind of get down to brass tacks. Yes, be practical, but not pessimistic. There's a difference. Okay. Maybe now isn't the time to, take, I don't know, maybe with the weather, it's a bad time to take paragliding lessons, or go skydiving. I don't know. It depends on you. I wouldn't go skydiving during Mercury retrograde. That would be a big no, but I wouldn't go skydiving if Mercury were direct. It is completely a personal choice. You get what I'm saying though, right, my friends? Okay. So you want to survive this Mercury retrograde. You don't want to push forward on projects or ideas or goals if things aren't working out. You're being stopped not to punish you, but for you to redirect and reassess, retool. Okay. The idea itself may not be a bad one, but maybe you're not doing it in a way that makes it viable. I see this a lot when people make TikToks. They think they're doing the same thing that other creators are doing. but they're not paying attention to grabbing people's attention in the first 3 seconds. They're thinking more about what they want to say versus what might be what people want to hear. And I'm not just saying, don't blow smoke up on, at people's butts, but a lot of times, people don't get to the point. I know you could be like, yeah, Lori, but people don't get to the point early on in the video. That's like really, really important in short form content. I honestly re-record my videos a lot. I'll do one run through and then I'll be like, oh yeah, I forgot to smile. I should probably do that again. Because I'm a Scorpio rising and I look like a serial killer when I don't. Likewise, you want to revise anything. This is a great time for revising. And then, like I said, it's going to continue to be somber. It's going to be a time where we're all like, what the hell are people on? What is up with these leaders? What are they doing? Why are they digging in their heels? What is on earth is going on, right? It's really hard to watch. It is tiring. But around, like just after the solstice, we have, so on the 22nd, we have Mercury moving back into Sagittarius. And I really do think things will lighten up a little bit. I do think diplomacy is going to start to look a little different. I think the rest of the world is going to really start squeezing the agreements or looking at sanctions or we're going to see some interesting diplomatic things go on. And on an individual level, we might feel a little lighter, just a little bit. There might be a little hope on the horizon. Remember, hope is our currency right now. So the most important thing you can do at all during December is to not lose hope. And it's okay not to want to decorate. It's okay. I mean, unless you have little kids, remember, if you've got little kids and that's your culture, don't rob them of that. Don't rob them of that, trying to teach them how to be conscientious. It depends on how much they can cognify. If you have older kids, you guys talk about it as a family, but like really little ones, they understand big feelings, but I find that having a little magic is important. We don't want to rob ourselves of the dream. Like I said, we don't want to rob ourselves of the magic of life. We just want to work within our conscience, work within our conscience. And sometimes we do need a little magic. Sometimes we need a miracle. Sometimes we need hope. Sometimes, some people might call it a miracle. Other people might call it magic. Other people might have a religious experience with it. You call it what you will. Maybe it's, somebody might call it a convergence or a quantum entanglement. I really don't care what we call it. It's okay to believe. And faith can sometimes be really rocked. But when we're in our darkest hours, when we're facing confusion, when we're facing what some people might call the unthinkable, or just we feel powerless, faith is what gets us through that. And faith is just, we believe it, something better is on the way or something good can happen without any evidence. And there's people who will really fight you on that. Don't talk to them about it. Don't let people shake your faith. You don't need people to agree with you to hold your beliefs. And that's something I think we're all going to be reminded of as Mercury moves back through Sagittarius, that our beliefs, that's individual. Okay. And trying to impose our beliefs on other people is really not okay. And having people try to force their beliefs on us is not okay. It's not in any circumstance. I don't care what belief it is. That's why when you guys tell me, what do you tell people who don't believe in astrology? I'm like, I don't tell them anything unless they're coming at me about what I do, because I don't believe in astrology. Astrology is a field of study that I am very well acquainted with, and I've proven out the methods that I use, and they work repeatedly over and over and over again. But I don't believe in astrology any more than I believe in science, because it's not a belief system. Okay. I know certain things work. That's not belief. That's knowledge. I believe that humans are good. I don't think it's an evil world. I think there is evil in this world. And I know humans, not just I believe, I know humans are capable of as much goodness as they are what we can consider unfathomable evil. Okay. And so don't lose hope. It's important right now. And humanize people. Don't dehumanize people. I don't care where they're from. We can look at somebody and go, wow, that person is definitely in a spiritual psychosis and not rational, or oof, that person is acting like a sociopath. But you want to say that person. Don't take personhood out of it, because if you do, that's a slippery slope, and that's how we've ended up in the position we are in politically today, globally, in many scenarios. Okay? Don't dehumanize anybody. Even if it's tempting, even if you think, oh my God, that person is so unacceptable. Don't go down that slope, my friends. It's so slippery, and it's how we end up here. But anyway, so if you want to know more about how to survive the Mercury retrograde, tune into the patron-only podcast. That's also where we're going to talk about your intentions for the new moon in Sagittarius. And then we'll put the rest of Seth's interview. We'll just put the whole thing up on YouTube, and you can watch that. Make sure you check out the show notes. Go to auricvoltage.com. Sign up for Seth's email list so you make sure you get special discounts and find out about his stuff that he's doing. Follow him on TikTok. He's a good friend of mine, and I love watching him do well. He's grown so much since he started, and I'm so proud of him. I hope you have a good week. And on next week's podcast, we'll be talking about the solstice, because it's coming up on December 21st. So next week is the solstice episode. Oh my God, can you believe it? That's crazy. Yeah. So episode 54 will be the solstice episode. And then, oh my gosh, the last episode 55 of the Awake Space Astrology Podcast comes out on Christmas Day. What is that? That's so much fun. Alrighty. Well, it's funny because that song, We Need a Little Christmas, from the Muppet movie, or Muppet Christmas Carol, keeps coming up in my head. So maybe that's what that's about. We'll see what comes up. Again, I don't celebrate any of this religiously, but culturally, having grown up with it around, I have some of my preferences for how things can go. Alrighty, have a wonderful week. I hope you got perfect parking. I hope we got the towels folded. I hope the dishes are done and washed and dried and put away. I hope the dog's been taken out for a walk, and I hope we got a lot of steps in on that treadmill. See you next week for the solstice episode. I'm Lori Rivers, and you've been listening to the Awake Space Astrology Podcast.